Chapter 2. Daily Quest. Slowly, Quinn's eyelids started to lift open and his vision started to return. His head felt heavy and his body was slightly sore. As he lifted himself off the ground, he touched his head to see if he had gotten any injuries. Why does my head hurt so much? After making sure his skull hadn't split open from falling over, Quinn then went to pick up his glasses off the floor. Although there was only one lens now in it, out of habit, Quinn put the glasses on. Suddenly, he felt a little disorientated and his vision was slightly blurry. He took them back off and noticed that his vision only got blurry when he put the glasses on. Quinn then immediately rushed to his desk to grab a pencil. He drew the letter A on the wall and stepped back. Quinn continued to step back until his back had hit the room wall. But how? Quinn thought. Somehow Quinn's vision was now perfect. He had lived his whole life with terrible eyesight, but suddenly he could see clearly. Images then started to flash in his head of what had happened before he passed out, and he could think of only one thing. The book. When Quinn looked around the room, he started to panic. The book? Where the hell's the book? Quinn looked everywhere for the book, but nothing could be found. It couldn't have gone missing in such a small room, and the disappearance of it was making Quinn go mad. Maybe it's like my socks, they go missing all the time? Don't be stupid, this is a book we're talking about, not a sock. Quinn then tried to think hard about what had happened just before he had passed out. He suddenly started to remember the book being lifted into the air. Then just before his eyes closed, he heard a few words. What was it? It sounded like some type of system message. Then as soon as Quinn had said those words, a status screen had appeared right in front of his eyes. User, Quinn Talon. Race, human. Level 1. 0/100 EXP HP 10/10. Strength, 10. Agility, 10. Stamina, 10. Wow, it's like those really old games people used to play all the time. Quinn noticed that on the status screen there were more tabs on the top, but without even doing anything and just reading the tabs in his head, the screen automatically switched. Skills. 0 skill points available. Skill locked? Skill locked? On the skills tab, Quinn wasn't really able to see much. Everything seemed to be locked and slightly grayed out, so he quickly moved on to the next tab, which was called Shop. Shop. Unlocks at level 10. Can I do anything? The last tab was the Quest tab, and finally, it seemed like this tab wasn't locked behind something. Main Quest. Reach level 10. Daily Quest, drink 2 liters of water. Reward 5 EXP. After checking everything out that the system had to offer, Quinn had to just think about closing the system, and it did. When Quinn thought about opening it again, a screen would immediately pop up in front of him. Quinn could only think of one thing, that the book his parents had left him was an ability book. These books could often be bought at very high prices from the military or a company, and could even be obtained on the black market. The only thing was, Quinn had never heard of an ability book that disappeared and granted the user a system like this. The ability books were designed to be learned. It wasn't something that you could pick up and instantly understand how to use. A smile started to slowly appear on Quinn's face. This was great news for him. He had always been a level 1 ability user, because he could never afford to buy any ability books. Finally, he had something. The next phase was for him to test what ability he had. Fire, come on. Quinn said as he threw the palm of his hand forward. Okay, next. Water out. Quinn did the same again, but there was no result. After trying out many different things, and all the abilities he had seen before, it turned out he was unable to perform any of them. What the hell useless thing is this? Is it really just a system ability? Quinn thought about it for a while. If it truly was like a game, then perhaps by completing the quests, he would eventually get stronger and unlock more skills. He was treating it like an ordinary ability book, and clearly what he had obtained wasn't ordinary. Usually, ability books were based around one ability. It was important for a person to select their first ability book because a regular human body would only be able to perform one ability attribute. If you got a transform ability as your first ability, you would only be able to get other abilities related to this attribute. This was the same for fire and so on. Quinn then went to open his mini fridge and started to grab the bottles of water that were inside. He immediately started downing the water bottles one by one. Damn, how much is 2 liters? My belly feels like it's going to burst. After finishing his 8th bottle of water, a new notification message had appeared. Daily quest complete, 5 EXP has been granted. 5/100. Well, now I know at least the system works. Suddenly there was a loud knock that could be heard at the door. Quinn quickly went to the door and opened it. Standing in front of him was a large muscular bald-headed man wearing a black military uniform. There were several medals on it and his name written just above his chest. Sergeant Griff. Boy, it is time for you to vacate your room immediately. The vehicle has been prepared and has been waiting outside for 5 minutes already. With everything that had happened, Quinn had forgotten about what was to happen today. It's time for you to head to military school, Griff said.